In every conversation, every debate, and every disagreement, there are two possible paths: the path of emotion and the path of reason. Emotion reacts, reason examines. When emotion rules, arguments become battles. When reason rules, arguments become bridges. The Socratic method is not about winning, it's about understanding. And in understanding, the truth wins by itself. Its purpose is not to humiliate others, but to illuminate what is true, what is false, and what is still uncertain. It uses 5 questions, only 5. Yet those 5 are powerful enough to expose contradictions, empty claims, and lazy thinking. The reason they destroy any argument is not because they attack, but because they demand clarity, and confusion cannot survive in clarity. So let's begin. Question 1. What do you mean by that? Every argument begins with words, and yet most arguments collapse because those words are not shared in meaning. The first question of the Socratic method, what do you mean by that, appears simple. But it is the most devastating question in logic. It forces definition. It forces the speaker to translate emotion into reason. When you ask this question, you turn a vague cloud into a precise concept, and in doing so, you expose whether there was any real thought behind the claim. Think about the last time you heard a statement like, "Society is broken. Justice must be served. People today are selfish." Each sounds powerful until you ask, what do you mean by that? The moment you ask, the energy of the statement weakens. The speaker must pause, search, and specify. A vague claim thrives on shared assumption. But a defined claim must face reality. This question also reveals how language manipulates emotion. Politicians, advertisers, and influencers use emotionally charged words that carry no fixed meaning. Change, progress, freedom, truth. When pressed to define them, the illusion of agreement disappears. Once someone tries to define a term precisely, they reveal their framework of thinking, their assumptions, their worldview, their bias. That's why "what do you mean by that" is not just a request for clarity, it's a request for honesty. It transforms an argument from a shouting match into an X-ray. It shows what lies underneath the noise. If you use only this one question in life, consistently and calmly, you will already see 70% of false arguments fall apart, because most people don't think in definitions, they think in impressions. And when impressions meet precision, precision always wins. Once the meaning is clear, the next step is foundation. How do you know that's true? This is the question that separates belief from knowledge. It is the line between "I think" and "I can show." Every claim has a hidden structure, an invisible web of assumptions, experiences, and hearsay that supports it. This question shines a light on that structure. It demands justification. It asks, what evidence supports this? What logic leads to it? What experience confirms it? If the answer is weak, emotional, or circular, the argument collapses. When you ask this question, you are not calling someone a liar. You are inviting them to move from emotion to demonstration. This question does 3 things at once. It slows down the argument. It introduces evidence as the standard. It reveals whether the claim can survive outside of feeling. For example, someone says, "People are more divided than ever." Ask, how do you know that's true? What are you comparing it to? What measure are you using? Suddenly the statement requires data, not drama. Or someone claims, "I'm sure this product works." Ask, how do you know? Have you tried it, or did someone tell you? We live in a world where certainty is cheap and evidence is rare. People confuse popularity with truth, but this question stops that confusion instantly. It forces the speaker to either provide proof or admit uncertainty. Both outcomes are progress. If proof is given, truth grows stronger. If uncertainty is admitted, humility enters. Either way, the conversation moves closer to reality. And that is why the Socratic method is not a method of attack. It's a method of refinement. It doesn't destroy people. It destroys illusion. The third question brings abstraction to the ground. It demands contact with reality. Can you give me an example? Many arguments sound reasonable until they are applied to real cases. This question tests that connection. It asks, can your theory survive contact with reality? If someone says technology is destroying humanity, ask, can you give me a specific example? If they say all politicians are corrupt, ask, can you name 3 who are, and explain how? Often, what you'll find is that people make broad claims from 1 or 2 emotional experiences. They mistake a part for the whole. This question forces proportion, the ability to tell how much of a statement is truth and how much is exaggeration. When someone gives an example, 2 things happen. First, they anchor their claim in fact. Second, they open themselves to testing. You can then ask follow-ups. Is that example representative or rare? Does it prove the point or only illustrate it? The request for examples is how science began. Observation replaces declaration. Testing replaces assumption. In logic, this question reveals fallacies like hasty generalization, false analogy, and sweeping statements. When people cannot provide examples, it means their ideas exist only in language, not in life. And when they do give examples, those examples often contradict their general claim. That moment, when their own evidence turns against them, is where learning begins. Can you give me an example? It's the question that makes philosophy practical and truth visible. This is the hardest question, because it touches pride. What would it mean if you were wrong? Up to now, the questions have been external, about words, about facts, about examples. This one is internal. It tests humility. Most arguments are not about truth, they're about identity. People defend ideas as if defending themselves. To admit error feels like personal defeat, but this question turns that fear into a tool. It invites reflection. If I'm wrong, what changes? Would the world fall apart, or would I simply learn? When asked calmly, it forces the speaker to confront the consequences of error. It introduces self-awareness into debate. If someone says, "My view is absolutely right," ask, what would it mean if it isn't? What would you lose by considering another angle? The honest thinker will pause. The arrogant one will react. Either way, the truth about their motive appears. Psychologically, this question activates cognitive dissonance, the discomfort we feel when our beliefs are challenged. Most people try to escape that feeling by attacking others. The Socratic thinker endures it. He uses it as a guide toward growth. When you ask yourself, what if I'm wrong? You step into the rarest territory, intellectual courage. It means you value truth more than ego. It means you prefer reality to comfort. This question doesn't destroy the opponent. It destroys the wall between both minds. Because once humility enters a conversation, understanding becomes possible. The 5th question completes the method by asking for purpose. Why does it matter? Every argument consumes time, energy, and attention. If there is no reason behind it, it's noise. This question is the filter. It separates what is meaningful from what is trivial. When 2 people argue endlessly, you can stop the cycle with one line. Why does it matter? Often they will pause and realize they don't know. This question does not end discussion, it purifies it. It exposes motives. It reveals whether the argument serves truth or ego. If someone is arguing to look smart, to dominate, or to vent anger, this question makes that visible. If they're arguing to understand, they will have a reason that aligns with growth. Applied to daily life, this question saves relationships, careers, and peace of mind. It reminds us that not every disagreement deserves our energy. Why does it matter? Brings focus back to values, to what's truly at stake. It asks, is this about truth or pride? Is this about learning or control? The Socratic method is not endless questioning for its own sake. Its goal is direction, to guide conversation toward wisdom and away from vanity. Without this final question, we may win arguments that were never worth having. But with it, we remember that reason must serve a purpose. Truth understanding, and the betterment of both minds involved. Each question of the Socratic method strips away a layer of illusion. What do you mean by that? Removes vagueness. How do you know that's true? Removes assumption. Can you give me an example? Removes abstraction. What would it mean if you were wrong? Removes pride. Why does it matter? Removes distraction. What remains after all that removal is not emptiness, it's truth. The beauty of the Socratic method is its simplicity. You don't need authority, titles, or degrees to use it. All you need is patience and the courage to ask. It destroys weak arguments, not by violence, but by light. Because confusion hides in darkness, and these questions turn the light on. In a world of quick reactions, the Socratic method is slow, deliberate, calm. It teaches us that wisdom isn't about having answers. It's about knowing which questions to ask. If you live by these 5 questions, you will not only win arguments, you will transform them. You'll turn debate into dialogue, conflict into clarity, and noise into knowledge. And that, my friend, is how reasoning defeats chaos, one honest question at a time.
This journey now comes to its quiet end, but not the search for wisdom. Each thought, each question, is another lantern in the dark. If this film has spoken to you, my friends, share its light and let it travel farther. Because truth, when shared, does not fade. It multiplies. And as always, keep your lantern burning and remember, to think is to live twice.